Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Growth Execution Podcast. We are here every week to bring you some tips, hints, tricks, things that are going to help you to build and grow your business. Now, delighted this week to be joined by Mark Peacock of PriceMaker. Mark, how you doing?
I'm great, thanks, Mal. Yeah, really good. All good.
Great, good to hear. Now, we always like to find out in this particular season all about your launch and how you set up. Now, I think it was back in 2018 that you got going. So, what spurred you on to join the growing band of entrepreneurs at that point?
Well, I'd had a 25-year career in corporate life, Mal. Like many people, I'd come to the end of the line and decided I wanted to be my own boss, basically, and work for myself.
Right.
Background was in marketing, product management, running a business unit, running a sales team. So for a while, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so I trained as a business coach, but I didn't want to go back, didn't want to be a generic business coach. And then I kind of stumbled across the idea of pricing. So I knew from my own experience in corporate life that pricing was really important for any business. And I also recognized that particularly in the SME sector, there's very little awareness or understanding of what good pricing is all about. So that's how it happened. I had my eureka moment. I thought, pricing, that's it. I'm going to tell the world about pricing and build a business on that basis. So that's how it started. Well, 4 years ago now, 3.5, 4 years ago.
Crazy how fast these things move, right? And did you continue to work in your corporate role as you started the business, or did you do the kind of, right, I'm jumping off?
It was a hard stop. I had a bit of money left over, which kept me going for about 6 months. But I had to make it work. I had to get the business up and running, find customers, define my service, and start delivering services that clients valued and were willing to pay for.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it was the pressure was on.
There's nothing like that pressure, is there? And what do you find SMEs make the most mistakes around pricing?
Well, I could talk for a long time about this, I guess. I think the main thing is that, generally speaking, we don't put enough thought and effort into it. Fundamentally, so if you sell time for money, the temptation is to say, well, I need to decide on my hourly rate or my day rate, and that's the extent of the pricing decision that you've got to make. And then once you settle on a number, right, that's it. Don't need to worry about that anymore. Let's go and find some customers. Let's do some marketing. Let's do some networking, or whatever it is. And the same might apply to a product-based business or even an online business. We tend to do the least amount of work we can possibly do to come up with a price that we're happy with. And my argument is that price is actually the most important part of your business, in terms of it will define your future profitability. It will attract the right kinds of customers that you want to work with. It will position you in your market compared to your competitors. And if you don't get these things right from the outset, it could end up quite bumpy for you, or you will be in a place where it's always a bit of a struggle.
Got it. And I guess one of the things about pricing as well is changing it. That's always a very visible sort of moment and can impact current customers, future customers, and so on. So is there a kind of a segue that's relatively straightforward, or is that why you've got to get it right up front?
Well, how do I answer that? I would say it's important to get it right up front. Most people don't. So there's nothing wrong with saying, well, look, we've been going for a few years now, and we recognize that there's some weaknesses with our pricing. So what can we do to improve it or change it? And the way I tackle that is to always find a better way to construct and present your pricing and your proposition so that your customers like it. So rather than just going out to your customers in your market and saying, oh, really sorry, prices have got to go up by 10%, hope that's okay, which is a really bad approach, improving the proposition. So if you do have to go out and say, we're increasing our prices, well, what can you do to improve the proposition as well? If it's a product-based business, can you enhance the warranty? Can you, improve the delivery times, add extra services or insurance? Or if it's a service-based business, it's often easier, to add things to the proposition, whether it's consulting, training, coaching, whatever it is. So if you're gonna, if you've got to increase prices and, everybody's suffering from increased costs at the moment because of the pandemic and Brexit related issues,
Absolutely.
You've got to think carefully about how you can present your new pricing in a way that customers find as amenable as possible. And it can be done. People think it's a very difficult thing and they're very scared of tackling it, but it can be done.
Yeah, that's really reassuring. And yeah, I think like you, a lot of people will be sitting out there, SMEs listening to this, who have seen their cost base come up and are fretting hugely about how to have that conversation with their current customers. Is it as straightforward as basically parking the blame firmly on circumstances outside your control? Is that it?
Well, it's okay, I think, in the initial part of the conversation to say, look, our costs have gone up unavoidably, as I'm sure and we've experienced an X% increase in cost over the last 12 to 18 months, which we can't continue to absorb. But after that, you've got to move away from the negatives and focus totally on the positives, so it becomes a sales situation. So you've got to reinforce why your customers should continue to buy from you, why you offer the value that you do, why you're better than the competition, and so on. Yeah. So it's okay to, open the conversation by, explaining that costs have gone up. But once you got that bit out of the way, which most people will accept, focus hard on why the customer should continue to do business with you. So what are the benefits? What's the value, etc.
Got it. And one of the things you spoke about earlier as well was about kind of selling time for money, which I think, again, there'll be a lot of people listening here who are essentially out there, speaking to people and doing exactly that. What's your kind of take on that? I mean, is there a better way of going about that that's relatively straightforward?
There is a better way. So one of my bugbears with time for money is people just think, all you need to communicate is an hourly rate or a day rate. Mm-hmm. The trouble with that is if you present somebody with a day rate, let's say your day rate is £500, doesn't really matter what the number is, but let's just say for sake of argument, you, you create websites for a living. So you say to your potential client, well, I've estimated your requirements. It's going to take me 10 days. My day rate is £500, right? So £5,000. As a buyer, as a potential client, I judge a day rate as a cost, right? And I compare it to other comparable day rates that I might know of. Mm-hmm. My accountant, my lawyer, other people that I know. If you just instead of communicating a day rate or an hourly rate and the next number of days or hours, if you just position it as a project price, as a fee, as an engagement fee, and say, I've looked at all of your requirements, I understand everything, and my proposed fee to do all of these things is £5,000. Even better, position it as an investment. Mm-hmm. And then your potential buyer or client sees that figure as an investment, and they want to know, what return am I going to get on that investment? So more leads, more traffic, more sales inquiries, whatever it is. So that's the key difference. If you present your fee as a day rate or an hourly rate, they see it as a cost. Mm-hmm. If you present it as a project fee or as a total price, they see it as an investment. So it's a more skilled sales conversation, but you're getting yourself out of positioning yourself as just another cost. Yeah, becoming more of a trusted advisor.
Yeah, so it's more a consultative kind of thing without the kind of hourly rate consultation.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And what kind of businesses are you finding are benefiting the most from the kind of conversations that you're having? You've mentioned SMEs. Is there a particular industry, or is it kind of across the board?
The ones I tend to speak to most would be three broad sectors for me. So tech, so digital, IT, online, SaaS type businesses. Mm-hmm. Second segment is just B2B services. So that can include training, membership organizations, coaching, consulting, marketing agencies. And then the third one is product-based companies, so manufacturers, distributors, people like that. But, I do a lot of, webinars and talks, particularly to audiences of SMEs, startups, one-man bands, people like that. And hopefully they get a lot of value from what I talk about. And I'm passionate about the importance of pricing and for people to think more carefully about it. So hopefully some of those messages resonate, particularly with those people charging time for money, independent consultants, coaches, marketing freelancers, folks like that.
Brilliant, thank you. And the startup side of things, just to kind of cover that off, is there a particular thing that you see almost every time? You just think just this one thing, if you can just do this at the start, then this will change your game further on.
Yeah, absolutely. So what the biggest mistake most startups make, whether you're a one-man band or in the technical business or online, is your initial prices, you set them too low, right? So we have this belief that because we're new in the market, we can't charge too much. And also because we're desperate for business, we think the best way to start is to price ourselves at the lowest end of the price scale in whatever market you're in. My simple advice to anybody in this situation is to do the exact opposite. So for new businesses, particularly pre-revenue, pre-sales, work out what's the highest price you think you can possibly dare to charge and start there, right? So instead of saying, well, let's use hourly rates as an example. Instead of saying my hourly rate is, I'm going to start at 50 quid, and then hopefully next year it'll go up to 60, then the year after that, 70 quid. Well, why not start at £100 or even higher? But of course, you've got to make sure that what you do is worth that kind of fee. And then if you find you've overshot it, right, and you're just not getting any traction, then come down a bit. So drop it down to 90 quid. But already you're miles ahead in price by starting high and coming down than if you start low and try to work your way up. Because it's always, always, always a lot harder to push your prices up from a low point than it is to bring your prices down from a high point. So yeah, my fundamental core advice, always price yourself as high as you possibly can, as high as you possibly dare, and then you can retreat from that if you feel you need to. It's a lot easier to do that than start low and try and push your prices up every year.
That's brilliant advice. I think that's so valuable to so many people out there, and thank you very much for sharing. So look, it's been great to catch up, and thanks very much indeed for your advice so far. I wondered if I could just ask a few very quick fire questions, with all, I guess, just to kind of get some real kind of instinctive answers from you. So what do you think is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would say, I've had the benefit of coaching, and I think the thing that I've learned from that is, everybody, including me, everybody has all the resources and skills that they need to cope, adapt, and grow. You've just got to find them, or find ways and solutions to help you achieve your goals. You might need help and advice and support along the way, but if you're clear on what you want to do, everybody's got it in them to be able to achieve. So it's belief in your own abilities, belief in your own resourcefulness, I would think.
Brilliant, and thank you. What do you wish you had known when you launched?
I wish I'd known it would have been fine.
Wish you'd known what? Sorry?
It would have been fine in the sense that I was going to survive and prosper and grow. Because in those early days, at one point I nearly gave up because it was a struggle. I didn't have any money coming in, and I thought, oh, crikey, I've got to go and look for a job. But it's all turned out fine. So I wish I could go back and tell myself 4 years ago, Mark, do not worry, you'll get there, it'll be fine. And if I could know and believe that with absolute certainty, it would have saved me an awful lot of worry and sleepless nights.
That's brilliant. And do you know what? I know there are people out there who are in that zone right now and will be taking great solace from that. So thank you. I think, and I completely agree as well. I think it is just one of those things that people do over worry, and it is about just making sure you've got the basics in place and you're able to crack on. Final question then. What's next for you? What's PriceMaker? What's the ambition?
Yeah. So I'm writing a book. Pricing advice for SMEs and startups. It's quite hard, but I'm hoping to get it, hoping to release it at some point next year. So that's my number one ambition for this year, my number one priority, if you like, is to write the book. And I'm really hoping that can help me, my kind of mission to communicate the power and the benefit of better, simpler pricing to the SME world. So yeah, watch this space. Maybe this time next year, I'll be able to send you a copy, Mal.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to catching up hopefully before that as well.
Yeah.
But listen, it's been so good, and your passion for helping SMEs to get their pricing rights sings out. So thank you for sharing some ideas and for helping our listeners as well. How can people get in touch with you, Mark?
Easy to find me. My website is pricemaker.co.uk.
It's all very simple. Love that. Brilliant. Well, listen, you've been a great guest. Thanks so much for your time and for all of your help.
It's a pleasure. Good to meet you, man.
And you too. So look, that's it for the Growth Execution podcast this week. Thank you so much for listening in. We'll be back next week with another great guest, helping you to learn, build and grow around your business more. So in the meantime, have a great growth week, and we'll catch you again next week. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.